Every racer chases that feeling where you've crossed the finish line and you've achieved something and that you've been working for a long time.
It's you and your bike out there. It's a challenge between you and yourself, you and your bike, to get to the top of that mountain. And you do whatever it takes to keep pushing, whether you push your bike, whether you ride your bike up. The mental part is just telling yourself and keeping yourself positive and just pushing yourself to the top of it all, keep going.
We run super sprockets, steel sprockets on the bikes to try and eliminate them bending, but when they do bend, it's really impossible to bend them straight. See, I think he lost a couple of hours there trying to straighten that sprocket.
I strive to be a champion, I want to be the best rider I can be. Personally, every time I want to go to the race, I want to win. I want to make sure when I'm on the bike, I give 110%.
You've got hope, you've got confidence, you've got the will, you've got preparation, you've got all these things backing you. But it does ideally boil down to that morning you wake up. Which side of the bed did you wake up on?
Those whole things, that will be. My name is Travis Teasdale. I'm from Pietermaritzburg, South Africa. I race for Husqvarna, South Africa, and I'm riding Enduro in the E2 class.
Travis is a household name in Enduro and hard Enduro. He's raced Erzberg, Romaniacs, lots of World Championship rounds, podiumed at the roof many times. So for us to have Travis on our team is exciting. We know we're going to every single Enduro race with the opportunity to win.
Before I was born, my dad bought me a PW50. So when I was basically born out the hospital, next to my baby bed, I had a PW50. So a big part was from my dad. He got me into riding, he supported me, and then when I turned 4, it was my first race in the PW50. My skills were learned from, obviously, when I started riding, I started doing motocross. So I had a coach called Andre Dearden. And then progressively through the years, I switched over to Enduro. And then when I made the decision, I had a really good mentor called William Gillett. He was my coach, he was my mentor. And he trained me and got me to where I am today. Hard days in the office.
My dad got me onto motorbikes at a very young age. I was 4 years old. In 2012, I did my first motocross race. He got me a 65 KTM with a bad to the bone sticker kit. And from there on, I just loved being on 2 wheels and I loved to race motorbikes.
So this year I'm racing for the E2 class. I'm going to be racing the Enduros and the Extreme Series. My goal is to win basically the championships in both the series, the Enduro and Extreme, and then personal goals, try to win every race.
For this year's 2023 season, in the E1 class, I definitely think there's a couple of riders that would put their hand up for a championship, but I do think I'm one of the favorites in that class, so if I can keep my head down and keep concentrated, I'll be able to win that class.
So this season, it's split up between 2 series, one being Enduro and one being Extreme. Enduro being more faster classic racing, so the lap being more faster, the average speed being more faster, still on Enduro terrain. The Extreme series being obviously more technical, the average speed being slower, and obviously the tracks being shorter. I prefer the extreme riding because every time I get on the bike, you don't know what to expect out there, especially if you're going into the roof of Africa. It's you and your bike and it's a challenge. The nice thing about it, it's you and your bike, so it's up to you to get to the finish line. When there's a massive hill climb or big technical section going up, I just enjoy the challenge. I like getting on my bike and at the end of the race saying, well, that was a tough one. Yeah, so I'm in the factory team for South Africa, the Husqvarna factory team, and it makes things so much easier. You get to the race, your mechanic's there, you get to your race, your bike's prepped. It just takes a lot of stress off you. When we have a problem or something's wrong with the bike or just even feeling a bit not so good on the day, you can go to your mechanic and chat to him.
So the first enduro race of the season was round 1, hard enduro at Heidelberg. We knew it was going to be brutal. It always is out there. Challenging for the riders and the bikes. Very, very difficult terrain to ride. Being round 1, it was the first round where you can prove that the work you've put in the off-season has paid off. Round 1 for Travis on our team, so super exciting for us.
Finished up second. Wade was there. He had a brilliant ride. Yeah, I felt good on the bike, and it was a start for the year, you know, new team. Things went all good, all smooth, and it was a good base setting for the year.
It wasn't the best race for me. I felt a bit ill on the day, but that wasn't going to stop me from going racing. I did have a minor crash on the day, which was caused by lack of concentration, I think. I just didn't focus enough on one spot, and I went over the bars, had a little bit of a crash, pulled myself back together, got on the bike, lost a bit of positions, but got back home safe in 5th position and got the points I wanted.
We got good feedback about the bike, so going into round 2 we could make the necessary changes to make sure we could build on a positive year.
Coming to Joburg and doing a national, we'll always know we're in for big work. There's a lot of rocks here, so just got to expect the worst. Zander and his team put in good work today at the track, obviously under a new organisation this year, so yeah, hats off to them. It was just gold into gold into gold into gold, so not many places to relax and catch your breath. So, but other than that, yeah, nice and smooth riding, a few mistakes, but nothing to complain about.
Shoulder is feeling good this year. Last year I was out, couldn't do roof last year. I had to get it off of my shoulder, repair my muscles and tendons. But yeah, now it's all good. I've got my mobility back, just need to get a bit stronger and yeah, and be ready.
Round 2 and 3 were in Bergville. It was under the MP Hard Enduro, which was cool, a massive event, 800 riders.
So it doubled up this year as a double header for the Hard Enduro Championship. Time trial Thursday that didn't really count for points, but it was important to get a good time trial in so that you could be far up the starting order. With so many bikes, it's really good to be out front, obviously, and have clear tracks in front of you.
It was quite a bit of distance on the motorbike, which was 110 kilometers for the day. And yeah, that on a motorbike for in the Drakensberg Mountains, that's quite a while and quite a bit of kilometers on the bike.
The double headers are really tricky because you could have a great performance on day 1, but then day 2 you could have a completely terrible performance. So leading up to the event, it's always important to make sure you fit, making sure you ride a bit more, train even harder so that you know you can have 2 solid days. I mean, the bodies take a hammering out there, so making sure you up the training a week before, but also when you are racing out there on that day, making sure you know you have a race the next day to make sure that yes, you push hard on day 1, but have to save enough energy to be able to do on day 2.
Travis had a really good day 1 where he won, and then day 2, unfortunately, there was a really big ledge. He got a little bit wrong, bike went over and hit a really big rock and mushroomed his rear sprocket.
I knew we had a gold section up this massive pass. It was like 3,200 meters, So I pushed as hard as I can to the top and was back into second position just behind Will. And coming down the pass, when I jumped, it was pretty hard to ride down. So I jumped down the wall and managed to catch my rear sprocket, which was not so good. I was in the middle of nowhere. So I managed to push my bike as far as I can and then freewheel down this massive pass we came to, and then decided, yo, I need to pull this sprocket off and straighten it. Managed to do that and yeah, get going and get to the finish. Not too sure what position I finished overall. I think it was about 7th to 8th, but the damage was done again for a championship, so yeah, not so good.
It's kind of what makes a good enduro rider. You have to be able to make a plan. You can't just give up. You have to use the tools you've got, find something else to use. You know, Travis used 2 big rocks to straighten his disc and to keep his championship alive. So yeah, really important as an enduro rider to be able to think outside of the box and to try and make things work in order to still score some points when the odds are against you.
The best training for enduro, I'd say, is obviously starting with motocross for the speed and the bike control, making sure what everything is used for on the bike with the controls, the clutch, the front brake. And then a big piece I've missed out in my career is trials. Obviously I wasn't going into it and I'm not really good at it, but it's quite a weak point that I do have. But then with the speed from the motocross, it helps me switch over to enduro.
I started riding and I just enjoyed it so much, and my dad pulled me into this motorbike sport. Obviously first I did motocross, he pulled me into motocross. I did motocross for 3 years and then we tried off-roads out. I did a little bit of motocross, a little bit of off-roads, then I completely went straight into off-roads. Did that for another 3 years and then got introduced to enduro riding. And then I just loved the enduro riding so much, I left the motocross and off-roads and carried on with the enduro racing. As it is, racing keeps me really busy at the moment with sorting all my stuff out, making sure my bike's ready, making sure I'm ready, fit, strong. And yeah, but besides riding, I do work. We sell earth moving machines and I work for a friend of mine. Yeah, well, that keeps me busy. I learn a lot from what I do there. Round 1 of the traditional enduro, hosted in PE, Rover, which is known for sandy tracks, big ruts and lots of whoops. Guys said it's going to be very testing on the body, and it definitely was. Today was really cool, I enjoyed it a lot. Really sandy tracks, bumps, whoops, sandy corners, braking bumps. It was really a tough track. It lost a bit of fitness here on my last lap. I think I burnt myself out before the last lap, but still pushed through. I got very stoked with a P1 in class for E1 and a P3 third overall for today. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was really cool. Don't think the guys could have done a better job. Thanks.
Track conditions were really rough. So what I did was making sure I knew I rode a bit of sand before the race, and then also used the heart rate strap on that day, and I think my average heart rate was about 180 for 3 hours. So physically, really demanding on the body.
Quite a special event because, you know, when you get here, it's just going to be sand and whoops, but that's what it was all about out there. Charged hard in the first 3 laps to take the lead, and then from there sort of just maintained it back to the finish. We were supposed to do 5 laps and put ourselves in a sneaky 6, which got the body working. But all in all, suspension was brilliant, bike was really good. So yeah, big thanks to the team. Yeah, very happy with my results and looking forward to the next round going ahead.
The guys really showed that they're ready this year for the National Enduro Series and that they're the guys to beat. So straight away, 2 red plates on our bikes. We were super happy about that moving into round 2. Round 2, we found ourselves at Nyalapans down in KZN. A really good event that the guys put on there. Difficult terrain, very rocky. Being leading both classes, there was quite a bit of pressure on the guys to go out there and perform. Unfortunately, you know, Travis was out front. He had a pretty good lead and he was pushing really hard. a lurker caught him out and he had a massive crash, injuring his shoulder. Yeah, unfortunately, that was the end of his championship. He had to pull out of the race. He just couldn't continue. The pain was too great.
Starts right for 5 minutes, go home. Nothing worse. Round 2 was pretty much of a disaster. Got to the start, started off, went into like a grass section. Started pulling a bit of a gap, and I think I got to like kilometer 2, and it went from a burnt grass into cut grass, and there wasn't sort of a warning marker for the rocks coming up, and I hit them with speed, and I knew exactly, okay, I hold onto my bike, and that was it was over. So yeah, unfortunately I tore my pectoral, and yeah, that was my race done and championship for the Enduro.
So after Travis fell out, Heinrich was the only rider out there, and lap 2 he ended up crashing on the exact same rock that Travis had crashed on lap 1, and it's crazy because he had stopped there the previous lap to help Travis when he had his injury, and so he knew it was there, and he admits that he knew it was there, but there's so much going on race day. They're racing a 25k loop, you can't remember every rock, and unfortunately the same lurker caught him out. He landed on his head quite hard. He was very dazed. It took him a good couple of minutes to gather his thoughts, pick his bike up, and yeah, try save his championship. He dug really deep. He showed lots of grit and determination that day, and yeah, really thankful for him to do that. They breed them tough where he's from. So yeah, really proud of Heinrich for that. That race saved his championship for him. Fighting through probably one of the hardest days he's ever had on a bike, and without him showing that determination and that grit to keep on going, his championship would have been over as well. So yeah, very proud of him for doing that day.
So round 2 of the traditional Enduro, not the best event for me. Pretty frustrated about my result, but it happens. Went out smooth for the day, started in first position in class, kept my lead in class, tried to chase the overall result, and I think I was pushing too hard to get the overall, and I made a mistake. I had a crash. Managed to get myself back together after a couple of minutes, get back to the pits, sort myself out. The medics gave me a check. I ended up cracking my helmet as well. Luckily, I could grab another helmet to continue the race, just to get my points in the bag to continue with my championship. And yeah, that's what I did. Continued going out, just riding my own race, trying to not think about the pain. I think I might have had a concussion that day as well. And yeah, brought it back home safely in 3rd position. Glad I still bagged my points for the day, so I'm still in the lead for the championship. And I think it wasn't the best event, well, best race for me, but it definitely counted as one, and I made the best out of it.
So obviously the injury, I tore my pectoral, but I've been battling with quite a bit of pain in that shoulder. It felt like literally when I jumped out of bed and my shoulder kept on the pillow and I couldn't get out. Mentally, it has been quite hard because the pain has been there for like 6 weeks and it's subsided a little bit. And when I went for a strength test, my dominant side was my right side, and now it's become my left. So I'm 30% weaker in this side at the moment. I have a good team behind me. I got a bio Activate Performance and Enhanced Physio. They've been working with me flat out, just getting things back going. And yeah, I've done quite a few sessions with them now, and we're slowly gaining a bit of momentum. So yeah, just back into rehab when I get home now. It's not good mentally when you're in quite a dark place and things aren't coming clean, but yeah, getting there slowly. Round 3 and 4 was super tough for me, obviously coming off injury, my shoulder. So I got as much rehab and bio in as possible before the race, and I didn't really know what to expect, you know. Going into Heidelberg is an extremely rough track. We had 2 days of this, so body definitely took a beating, and day one went okay. As soon as lap one started, I knew we were in for a really tough day. And obviously my shoulder being still a bit weak, I was compensating and holding on really tight, and by the end of the race my hands were finished.
So with Travis's injury at round 2, you know, he had to take a lot of time off the bike. He did lots of physio, rehab, all of that. He went overseas for a few weeks because he wasn't able to ride here to visit his parents. And yeah, just not being able to ride the bike because of his shoulder injury, you know, other parts of your body then suffer as well, especially his hands. His hands were completely shredded after round 3, and he had to wake up Sunday morning and do it all over again. Man, I don't even know how he started today. If you had to see what his hands looked like, they were completely raw. He did everything he could overnight, mercurochrome, methylate spirit to dry out the blisters. Yeah, man. Having raw hands is the most difficult thing to ride with because it's your number one connection onto the bike. And then on top of that, he had a mechanical as well. He had a snap chain, real freak mechanical to get. Usually it snaps on the master link, if anywhere. And this literally was snapped directly through the middle of the link, through the plate. So luckily for him, he was still in pit lane, and for us, he was able to come back to us, push his bike back to us. We repaired the bike and sent him out again. Lost valuable time, but was able to still piece together a second in class, which is really good for him to finish off the year. Unfortunately, the DNF just, yeah, you can't come back from a 0-point scoring day.
Battling with a lot of blisters on my hands going into round 4, I knew the day was going to be really tough for me, so methylate was my favorite friend that night, and just trying to dry them out and get ready for the day ahead. Started the day really strong. Caught up to the guys and was just maintaining a good position, and unfortunately going into lap 3 my chain snapped. As soon as my hands cooled down, it was game over. I managed to push my bike back and get the guys to sort my chain out, and then it was just survival mode to the end, literally riding like this the whole way to the finish. But yeah, good thing is fitness felt really good. Bad thing was hands were buggered.
So when we signed Travis, you know, we signed him for one reason. That's because he's a race-winning rider. He's won many championships. He's finished on the podium at Roof of Africa. You don't do that by luck. You do that because you're talented, skilled, fit, dedicated, all of the above. And yeah, we had high expectations for him. He knew he was there to win. He wants to win as an athlete, and we want him to win as well. Unfortunately, he just seemed to, I don't know if he walked under a ladder or had lots of black cats crossing his path. Seemed to have lots of bad luck this year. Some mechanicals, some crashes, dealing with injuries, and then also the problems that come after injuries. Yeah, very challenging year for him. Not over yet. We've still got some racing to do. We've got Roof of Africa coming up, and we're doing everything we can to put him into a position where he can get back to his winning ways. And he's doing everything he can as well. So it's a group effort. It's not one-sided. It's not that he's out there alone. You know, from a manufacturer's point of view, we're moving on to the new bikes now, which is really going to elevate his game. And yeah, as I said, we're doing everything we can to make sure he's got the best tools to do his job.